Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video, I'm going to show you how to clean and refinish a three-piece shaving set, much like this one. Now, this set uses a Mach 3 razor, which has been one of the most popular ones that people like. These sets should be cleaned and refinished if needed about once a year. These do get exposed to a lot of soap and water, and they should be wiped dry after each use so you can minimize the maintenance. I can give you a quickie version of this video, which is to disassemble, clean, refinish, reassemble, and back to use. Done. Now for the rest of the process. Now stick around to the end for some extras and information you'll want to see. Please consider subscribing and joining our community by clicking on that little red icon down in the lower right corner, and be sure to hit the bell icon so you won't miss anything new. Also, please hit the thumbs up icon and give me a like, and share this with your family, friends, and fellow crafts enthusiasts. Please leave your comments below and tell me your questions, thoughts, and ideas. Be sure to read the description below, as it contains a lot of additional information, updates, and corrections. So check back often for the updates. So let's get to this project now. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is to clean up this shaving set. What I'm going to do is take it apart as much as I can. The brush I can't take apart at all, but I'll work with that. The razor blade or handle, I can take the head off and have the handle left, and the stand. That loosen up. Unscrew this knob on the top. I can disassemble that. Then I can remove the base and disassemble that. Then I can clean these parts up. First step I'm going to do is go into the sink with some hot water and one of those green cleaning pads. I'm going to clean these off of all the soap scum and watermarks that are on there to get them good and cleaned up, and then I'll do some sanding to get these ready for a new finish. And finish that I will put on will be rub-on polyurethane. So I'll get this going. Okay, so here I'm going to wash these pieces off, scrub them off with the soap scum and stuff, using a green pad like on this sponge. It's dry and not full of soap. I use some hot water here. Get it good and wet and flexible. Then I just kind of clean it off. Set that over to dry. And I'll pretty much do the same thing with these two pieces here too. Just scrubbing them off like this. I don't worry about the chrome parts too much. Just get them cleaned up. The chrome parts I'll clean up separately on this. So then dry them off right away. I use some paper towel, get them dried off. Then I'll set them over to dry for a while. And depending how much scum and stuff is still on there, some of it's going to look bad just from the wear and tear and exposures. But I'll see how it comes out. If it looks like I need to scrub off any more, it's looking pretty good. I think a light sanding job will do the trick on this. Maybe about a 400 grit paper. Well, I've got these cleaned up at the sink, and now I'm back here to do some more of the work of finishing and sanding and so forth. And these came out pretty good. I got most of all the soap scum off of there. It looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do is do some light sanding on these and get a good smooth finish. And then I can apply the finish, which is going to be a wipe-on poly. I use a clear gloss wipe-on. I keep them in these boxes here like this, store them upside down. Make sure the cap's on tight. These boxes I get from various sources and things that I buy. Also, if you can collect some beer boxes, these 18 packs work pretty good too. Just cut the box down to fit what you're going to do. So I asked my neighbor to save me his beer boxes. Anyways, next thing to do is I want to wrap up this brush here, protect that as I'm working on it. So what I'm going to do is to wrap a piece of paper around this, just any scrap paper, and I'm going to wrap this around, let's see, in a way like this that works for me, and get this so it fits kind of snugly there. Take a little piece of tape, stick that on there to hold that paper in place, and just kind of rotate it, make sure I'm seated well and covering well. So then what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm going to take some steel wool. This is some 4-knot steel wool. It's 4 zeros, so it's really very, very fine stuff. And I just clean this up along like this. It all feels very good and smooth, and get it all around all the different nooks and crannies and get it all cleaned up like that. And then same thing with these parts here for the stand and the razor handle. Get those cleaned up. Get it so it all feels really good and smooth. I like to take a clean cotton cloth and wipe these off after I'm done to remove any particles that are left over from the steel wool, and make sure it's good and clean for when I'm going to apply the finish. And that'll be great. So get it all cleaned up so they're all good and clean and ready to finish. Now, if you need to go a little bit further, you can take some 400 grit sandpaper. I've got some stuff on a roll here that I get that I use for some of my lathe turning projects for sanding. And you can rip off a piece like that and take off any strings there. And just go over it like that with that and clean it off to the extent that you need in order to get it good and smooth finish. A lot of times you probably don't need to do that. I think the steel wool will be good enough. But if you need to, you need to. So next step is I'm going to get ready here and to put on the Wipe On Poly. I'm going to use the Wipe On Clear Gloss, which will give it a lot of good protection. And you got to shake these gently. I've got a couple of labels on here that says shake gently. So you don't want to shake them vigorously, because then you introduce bubbles into rather a thick finish that we've got here. So I shake it gently like this a bit, and that'll get it mixed up after it's been sitting for a while. Then I'm going to use a rag and some gloves, and I'll wipe on the finish onto these, and I'll do it in such a way that I can stand these in different positions so they can dry while they're not touching any other surfaces. So that'll be great. All right, so I'll show you how I do that next. Well, I've got the handle wrapped up to cover the bristles, and I've got the razor handle and shaving post, stand for the shaving post. Got them wrapped up and taped to cover up the chrome parts. Now, what I'm going to do is, got a soft cotton cloth here. I'm going to fold up a little bit and use this for applying the finish onto these. And shake this up a little bit. And get this open. And apply some of this onto the rag. Get a few bits on there so I got good coverage. I'm going to hold it by this part here first to get a good amount applied right up around the edge of the brush. I'll be doing about 3 coats of this. Now I'll grab it on this that the paper is around. Apply some more finish, and then finish wiping it along all the rest of the part here. Make sure we get good coverage all the way around here. And some more along this edge of the handle. Luckily I can kind of hold on to this a little bit here, besides just the brush part. And finally finishing up around the top edge of that. And as you can see, I've got some spring clamps here that I'm going to use for setting these up. Got a larger one here for this brush. I'm going to clamp it on this and just set it there so it can dry. Now the other pieces, apply the finish on those, rub on. I make sure I get it on good and even. Hold the other end and spread it on some more to the other end. So that gives me a good coverage. Now with these, I'm going to clamp this like this, because these are a little bit more precarious. I try and clamp sideways like that. It wants to keep slipping out of the clamp. Then I'm going to put another clamp here on that, and that'll hold it up straight so it dries and it gives it support. Now for the other handle, apply the finish on that. Get it all good around there. Then use a clamp again to grab an end. And then make the other one as a stand. So these can sit and dry just like this without getting anything stuck to the finish. Then, like I said, I'll be putting on another 2 coats on this. I will let these finishes dry overnight and then sometimes up to 24 hours. It can take up to 72 hours depending on the humidity that you have. If you're inside an air-conditioned area, they will dry faster. I have an area in the back of my shop where I keep the humidity down to about 40% or less with a dehumidifier. Now that's where I store my lumber too, so I have to keep that dry or else it warps. Now this is a handle from another project I'm working on, but it's the same kind of finish that I'm using. Once it's cured and fully cured, the finish will be nice and shiny. Your finger should slide along like this easily, no tackiness to it at all, and that'll give you great durability and better resistance against water. So give it time to cure fully. Sometimes it can take a long time, but once it is, it's going to be good for a long time.
The Tax Bulldog helps taxpayers resolve tax problems on their own with helpful videos. These videos will guide them through the minefields of the tax collections and audit divisions. The Tax Bulldog helps demystify the process. View videos of Tax Bulldog on YouTube at this link or contact them at taxbulldog.com for immediate relief.
Well, now it's time to clean up these chrome parts here. A lot of the handles and so forth, is the finish is drying on that. Get this cleaned up. What I use is basically some glass cleaner. Any glass cleaner almost will work. And I'll do is spray these down, soak them down, and then wipe them clean with some paper towels. So, I'll show you how I do this. Okay, get those soaking a bit. Then, take some paper towel and wipe off these as well as I can to get off all the watermarks and the soap scum and all that stuff. So, and that'll be looking pretty good. That looks pretty good. This little piece here for holding the razor blade onto the handle. And then the base part itself. Get that cleaned up. Get all the way around all the edges and the bottom. So now this is going to leave a few marks here yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with some chrome and silver polish to get this cleaned up. I have to do a little bit more on this piece, as I see a little more soap scum on here yet that needs to be cleaned up, but yeah, it's coming up pretty good. I'll clean that up a little bit more to get it nice and shiny, because when I put the polish on and stuff like that, I really want it to be as clean as possible so that it doesn't show through. And it'll also, the finish or polish will help to prevent some of the soap scum and watermarks. It's not going to guarantee to prevent it altogether, but it'll give you a longer life between polishings on that. Okay, now we're ready to polish these parts. And what I'm using is this quick glow cleaner. And I'll put a link to this down below. Basically, you just rub some on a cloth, just takes a little bit. I've already done a few of these parts, and save this big piece here so it's more easily to see on the camera. And you just wipe this on, rub it in all the way around. Get it covered well. Just keep wiping it on until it gets almost dry. Then I take a clean cotton cloth and wipe it off. Get this good and clean. I try to hold it so I don't get my fingerprints on it, and get this cleaned up well. Do the edges first, then get around the top part here and get that polished up well so it looks good. So that's looking great, and then you can do the bottom side like that also, but it's not as necessary. Chrome's pretty good and it'll hold up. So that's all there is to polishing it. Quick and easy with this quick glow, and you're done with that. Okay, so we've got this all cleaned up, all the watermarks and the soap scum off of it, and got them refinished and polished up. Use this MinWax wipe on poly. I did 3 coats of this on the wooden parts and the shaving brush handle, and it'll do a pretty good job of keeping it watertight for a while. This is some maintenance that you have to do periodically to keep it in good shape. So what I'm going to do is assemble all this back together now. I'm going to start with the stand that will hold the brush and the razor. That's just putting this post back on the base of the stand here. And then the holder here that holds the brush and the razor handle. And this just screws back on. Like that. Then the shaving brush can hang right onto that. Take the razor handle, put the end back on that holds the razor blade. Then the razor blade pops on like that, and then you can put it on your handle or your stand whatever way you want, whatever looks good and appeals to you, whether it's hanging this way, this way, or another way, whatever you like for whatever style you want to show in your bathroom. And this particular one is a Mach 3 razor blade. I'm going to be doing another one here again soon that is a safety razor. It's got the double-edged blades to it, and that's a real popular one. People like to shave their heads and so forth. I don't particularly, but that's a good one for that. And that one though has a kind of a winding thing that unlocks the blade and so forth for easy changing of the blades and so forth. It's called a speed changer, I think, or something like that. I'll let you know when I do that video. But the mechanism on that kind of came loose on me, so I'm going to be using some different techniques on that to repair it and then to do the refinishing of it too. So basically this completes maintenance and refinishing of this, so it's like brand new again. So that's it for this one. Well, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration to maybe clean up your shaving set, please give me a like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you won't miss anything new. Also, please give us your comments, what you think, what you like, what you want to see, and your thoughts and ideas. So, as they say on the Red Green Show, if the ladies don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Thank you.